I went to a restaurant in Japan where only locals go to and got myself something that most people never eat in their lives. I am here in Noge, a historic old town in Japan, where the night is just starting and people are looking at me weird for using a GoPro as a microphone. Let's go find a place to eat. Noge was one of the first places where trade between Japan and the world started, when Japan first opened itself up to the world almost 200 years ago. Noge was a place where sailors, travelers and locals traded goods and most importantly, ate delicious food. Sometimes in a place like this, even though you're surrounded by interesting restaurants that all look like something you would enjoy, it still might be hard to go into them simply because, I don't know, these places feel like they're for the locals and I'm just some gaijin moron, so I just feel like I'm intruding, but I'm sure we'll find something. Oh. After being a local hero and lifting up 3 different signs that had fell over in the wind, I found this restaurant which looked promising, so I decided to step in.
I'll tell you a secret. Never go to a place that has an English menu. Not that there's anything wrong with those places, but I feel like usually you get best service and best food in those places that kind of only locals visit. And don't be scared to enter and don't be scared to use Google Translate. There's been times when I've asked like local people like, hey, what does this say? And they're like, I don't know. So you can use Google Translate because they don't know either.
The shop has been operating for over 70 years and has become a pillar in the community. Long ago, people simply used to sell stuff from their own houses in Japan instead of having dedicated locations for their store, and this place was no different. The family who ran this place used to also live in the restaurant. The owners were huge fans of baseball and the walls were covered with autographs from the local players and other baseball stuff. Many of their most loyal customers were old men who came to the store to watch baseball and talk with the super nice grandma.
My general advice when it comes to restaurants like this, when it comes to the menu, is to just get curry or shogayaki. Shogayaki is pork roasted in ginger, and well, curry, you probably know what that is. Those are always usually good options, they're safe. If nothing else fails, of course, you can go for the nuclear option and just point at the menu and say, this. I mean, you cannot go wrong with that. This Kujira steak right here caught my eye because Kujira is whale and I haven't really ever eaten whale, so I really want to give it a try, but I don't know how bad whaling is, so I gotta look that up before I order.
From a quick Google search, it seemed like eating whale was about as ethical as eating factory chicken, and at least they got to live free until they were hunted. But if you know better than me, please tell me in the comments.
クジラステーキ定食でご飯なしでお願いします。大丈夫です。 Yeah.
クジラステーキの、単品もあります。クジラステーキ。
ああ、いやーでもなんか味噌汁とか飲みたいので。
わかりました。クジラステーキ定食のご飯なしで。
はい、お願いします。
Japan is full of local places like this, but sadly, foreigners rarely go into these places because they can be somewhat scary to enter, and I fully understand that. Many times I still need to gather my courage in order to enter a weird place I've never visited before. But one thing is for certain, you always make new friends when you put yourself out there. Like this lovely old man who was impressed by my ponytail.
侍かも相撲ねと。相撲取り。そう。
When my food finally came, I was really surprised by how good it looked. I'm no expert at cooking or really anything, but it seemed like it was cooked to perfection. I tried to take some beauty shots of the food, but sadly I'm too poor to have a real camera for these kind of things.
I'm going to show you the proper way of opening up chopsticks. Well, let's see how whale tastes. I mean, it isn't the biggest surprise that it tastes like beef, since it is a mammal after all. But still, even though you know it, it kinda still surprises you a bit. I have to be honest, I don't know if you're supposed to eat the meat from these small clams or not. I guess if you want to, you can. If you don't want to, they're just there for the taste. That's at least my assumption.
The absolute best part of the meal was listening to the businessmen behind me drink and roast each other. If you want to search for places like this in Japan, I suggest using keywords teishoku and shokudo in Google Maps.
And a piece of fruit for the dessert. Very good. This meal cost 1,250 yen, so that's about $8. So not too bad. I'm mansaku shiteru. I am happy with what I've eaten.
The best advice I can give for people traveling in Japan is to be brave and eat well.
ここに来ると大きくなると巣も始まる。
どこ国は？
フィンランド。
めっちゃ遠い。
寒いです。フィンランド寒すぎて真っ暗すぎて日本に逃げました。If you're ever around in Noge, the place's name is Katsuhan. My recommendation, please go. The people are super nice, so you won't go wrong with the place.